Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Wednesday, December 9th. We are talking with professional sports bettor Teddy Covers, and we are going to cover the Thursday night NFL game, Minnesota, Arizona. Teddy, this is a kind of an interesting game. The obvious choice here, the obvious play would be Arizona. And sometimes in the NFL, you know, the non-counterintuitive plays are actually the plays with value. Obviously, Minnesota's gotten blown out 2 out of their last 3 games, and Arizona, a very capable team with a great program. They've got a great passing game that works. Their running game, no matter who's healthy, who's in, is very productive. It's a lot of points to be handing a team that, you know, just recently was an ATS covering machine. But the obvious play here seems to be, you know, has to be Arizona, and that might also be the play with value. I took a shot with the under. I took it at 46. The market is 46 right now, though interestingly, the Greek has 45.5, Pinnacle has 46.5, so that appears to be 2 sharp books with opposite leans. I took the under 46, and I'm still feeling out, trying to decide what I think about the side. What's your take in this game, Ted?
Yeah, I know I'm not interested in the under. And that has a lot to do with what we've seen from Minnesota on the defensive side of the football. Mm-hmm. You know, the injuries that they suffered last week, they went into last week's game a little bit banged up. They came out of last week's game completely banged up. We're talking about a team that is now playing without their best defensive lineman, their best linebacker, and their best safety. 3 guys on the defense were being considered for the Pro Bowl. All 3 of those guys are hurt. Mm-hmm. That's a problem. Yeah. And we saw Green Bay move the ball effectively through a big play passing game against them 3 weeks ago. We saw, obviously, Seattle decimate this defense last week. Mm-hmm. I mean, like a hot knife through butter throughout the course of that contest. So the injuries are a problem for Minnesota. In my mind, an equally big problem is the attitude. Mm-hmm. You know, this was very much, the game against the Seahawks was a statement game for the Vikings. They spent all week talking about how Seattle was going to come in and they were going to kick their ass. And after losing to Denver and losing to Green Bay and the Monday Night Football debacle at San Fran to open the season, this was their statement game. This was when they were going to show up. And not only didn't they show up, not only did they come out of that game banged up, but on the field in a statement game, the team did not respond to it first. Right, they took a punch and they did not punch back. They flat out quit. And then you read the post-game comments coming out of that locker room. They were ugly. You know, you got AP throwing the coaching staff under the bus. You got the defensive players throwing the offensive guys under the bus. You got the offensive guys throwing the defensive guys under the bus. So you have a team that has a confidence issue, that is banged up on defense, missing all their best players. A team that has, the quarterback weakness of Teddy Bridgewater was on display once again last week. They're on a short week, and they got to face a talented foe. I can't get to the window with Minnesota. I can't even consider Minnesota this week. They're not. I can understand the contrarian element. I can understand the line value element. Neither one of those is enough for me to look at the Vikings as a serious choice against an Arizona team that has been consistently undervalued. And while they haven't been blowing teams out at home in recent contests, that's also taken some of the steam off the Cardinals in the betting markets. This was a very, very hot team early in the season. Now, not so much. Looking at this point spread, 7.5, I think that's reasonable to lay with a superior team in the superior spot.
Yeah, I mean, as often as not, we see this week in and week out, year in and year out. As often as not, the obvious play in the NFL is actually the side with value. Sometimes it is the counterintuitive play. Sometimes it's not. Earlier in the week, you could have had 7. It was a split line 7 or 7.5 earlier in the week. Now, I just checked before our call, it's 7.5 or 8. I didn't see any 7s left. And you think there's still some value, though, at 7.5?
I would say, and most importantly, this line is only going to go up.
Right.
If you miss the 7s and you want to take Arizona, you better lock in at the 7.5 because
and I'm guessing
there's not a lot of people that are going to be making cases for Minnesota over the course of the next.
And I'm guessing that it's going to be a huge public play and a huge public teaser play. And if Arizona covers both of those, could be a bad situation for the books on Thursday night. Teddy Covers, interesting thoughts. Thanks so much.